Good evening. Bring it on. That is the message that President William Ruto has conveyed to Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga as the latter promises to march on for the March 20th journey to State House. This, as thousands in Kisumu thronged the streets in support of Raila's call to action. We have that in this broadcast plus. Tonight, President William Ruto conveys to Azimio leader Raila Odinga that he holds personal responsibility for the safety and protection of Kenyans and their assets during Monday's planned mass action.
And we must tell my good friend Raila Odinga, you cannot, enough is enough. You cannot continue to blackmail the country.
This as anti-government protests led by supporters of Raila Odinga in Kisumu persisted. Concerns as within the span of 1 week, 6 individuals in Machakos County have passed away due to suspected cases of cholera.
You find that in a plot, there are only 2 toilets being used by about 14-15 households. And in the households, there are so many children there.
Some patients have presented themselves to medical facilities in extremely critical conditions.
Tunasema it is a no-go zone.
Also tonight, the National Assembly provides time for members to participate in the ongoing discussion surrounding homosexuality in Kenya.
Kuongezeka kwa mahusiano na ndoa za jinsia moja kunaitia jamii ya wanadamu nchini katika hatari ya kutoweka.
Nyali Member of Parliament Mohamed Ali initiated the motion and stated that he would persuade his fellow MPs to oppose any efforts aimed at legalizing homosexuality in the country. Well, it is 9 p.m. East African time. My name is Eric Munene. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Catherine Simaloi. Welcome to the broadcast. Tonight, tension remains high in various parts of Baringo County following a recent string of banditry attacks that have witnessed the death of 1 person with hundreds of livestock being stolen. This, as Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has assured members of the public that no individual will be displaced in the ongoing land and air security operation. Our reporter Stanley Nyeringita kickstarts this bulletin tonight.
3 p.m. Wednesday, suspected bandits attacked Chimoi village in Saimosoi ward, Baringo North, making away with 100 cows, as 1 person has been reported missing. This is among the recent string of attacks that have stirred up fear among residents of various parts of Baringo County. Tuesday, 6 p.m., 44-year-old Kakuko Kuroro lost his life after suspected bandits attacked him and later made away with livestock belonging to 2 families.
Saa jioni kitu kama saa 11:30 na tukalala sasa kupika saa 10 ikapelekwa tena mbuzi ya kijana yetu msengene anaitwa Lokongo Chesundo na Margaret Kabut, nikachukuliwa mbuzi 150.
Sikieni sauti yetu, sikieni mali yetu, tumelia kutosha, tumelia mpaka maji ya tiriri hakuna kwa hii, na wamama wanyongwe ambaye hata ujui kutoka leo saa hii Jumatano tarehe 15 sijui watu wakaji ya Gagiri atakaje.
In Chemorangion area, the mood was tense as the National Police Reservice reportedly engaged bandits during the better part of the day to try and flush them out of their hideouts. This even as KDF officers met with the Deputy Inspector General Nur Gabo and Rift Valley Regional Commissioner Abdi Hassan in Chemolingot, Tieti constituency in a closed-door meeting. However, the security personnel refused to address any questions from the media. With the lapse of the deadline to have residents living in areas earmarked as banditry hotspots evacuate by Tuesday evening, most residents have defied the orders.
Angalia pale watoto wa shule. Kama inawezekana hata mtu hurumie tu kwa ajili ya watoto. Kwa sababu hatuna mahali pa kuweka. Kama hao watoto ingestahili kumeswa, tungemesa na kutoroka. Lakini sasa tutafanya namna gani?
In a letter sent to newsrooms, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has stated that, and I quote, after months of intelligence gathering, security agencies established that within this remote and uninhabited forests, caves, hills, gorges and rugged terrain escarpments, bandit gangs have invited some members of the public who could probably be their family and kin to live with them, ostensibly to convert them to human shields in the event of engagement between security personnel and bandits. End of quote. Kindiki has further assured members of the public in the 6 counties of the north that the security operation will comply with both the Kenyan and international laws. Stanley Nyeringita, TV47.
To politics now. Tonight, the church is amplifying its calls for the truce between President William Ruto and his political rival Raila Odinga, who has threatened to go for mass protests. This even as religious leaders face a tough balance to avoid being scrutinized by the public for being partisan in this issue. Flora Limuki reports.
As the political temperatures rise in the country following the declaration of nationwide mass action by Azimio leader Raila Odinga on March 20th, the church is also amplifying its call for a truce between front runners in the August 2022 general elections. According to the National Council of Churches of Kenya NCCK, Nairobi Region Chairman Bishop Alphonse Kanga, the rivalry between the two leaders and their parties is detrimental to peace and cohesion in the country.
The opposition are Kenyans. Government are Kenyans. If there is something wrong, we sit together and agree.
The situation cannot hold for long. There is need for immediate action.
Religious leaders now want President Ruto to initiate dialogue to bring Kenyans together as he works towards achieving his development agenda. This comes amid claims that the church has been politicized, bearing the fact that the current regime has pegged their win on religion and the consistent church visits since they were elected.
There's actually a split between, I dare say, the evangelicals and the mainstream churches. A press conference was held by the Catholic bishops, and they actually said, we didn't elect you to actually go and pray in State House. We elected you to go and make policies.
The church is not a museum of saints. It's a school of sinners. Are we siding with anybody? I can say not the church. But individuals, we still work on them.
At the same time, the youth have been cautioned against being used by politicians to create tension, while being urged to refrain from attending political gatherings and unlawful demonstrations. The National Cohesion and Integration Commission has to this end rolled out an initiative to counter hate speech on social media.
No one will come to tell you that everything is rosy when they want to use you for the wrong purpose. So I want to urge you to be very careful who you listen to and how you listen to it.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga has been urged to adopt solution-oriented approach or risk being seen as champions of political instability. With the current political scene in the country, the church has a great role to play in as much as coming to a mutual understanding is concerned within the ruling government and the opposition. This even as the church distances itself from taking sides. Flora Limuki, TV47, Nairobi.
Well, thank you for that, Flora Limuki. Now, tonight, President William Ruto has told Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga that he will be held personally liable for any loss of life or destruction of property during Monday's Azimio's protest. At up speaking, President Ruto told Odinga to liaise with the police on Monday's protests in what he termed as blackmail and impunity, while allaying Kenyans' fears over the demos, saying the government is in charge. Our senior political affairs reporter Apollo Kamau reports.
Wachunge mali, wachunge maisha.
In a no-holds-barred speech that deconstructed Azimio coalition leader Raila Odinga ahead of Azimio's Monday's planned mass action, President William Ruto read the Riot Act to Odinga, saying though he has no problem with the protest, Odinga will be held personally responsible for any loss of life or destruction of property, directing him to the police on his claim the protest march will be peaceful.
Mimi sina shida kama rais apange mambo ya maandamano ya amani, lakini mimi nataka nimpatie ushauri. Aketi chini na polisi, wakubaliane hiyo maandamano itakuwa ya amani kwa njia gani. Asije akaharibu mali ya watu, asije akaharibu amani Kenya, asije akamwaga damu tena vile amezoea, kwa sababu we are shortly going to tell him enough is enough.
A tough-speaking President Ruto also hit out at Odinga for acting with impunity and blackmailing Kenyans, saying the country is governed by the rule of law and no one is above the law. The president allaying Kenyan fears that no life will be lost.
That you have your own set of laws that you enforce through ultimatums, demonstrations, that you enforce by force and blackmail, using chaos and violence. It cannot be the case.
Azimio has stoked fears on the return of ICC cases, daring the government to use police to quell the demos in what they claim will be a march to State House.
Leo unatuambia ati utapanga maandamano ya amani. Tunangojea hii maandamano ya amani tuone kutoka kwa huyu jamaa ambaye hajawahi kupanga hata siku moja maandamano ya amani.
President Ruto's allies have termed Azimio's march to State House as a coup that should not be allowed in a country governed by the rule of law. This as Odinga's allies maintained the march to State House is on with their families.
It is a state house protected by the military. In fact, the police officers will let the military do their work. So as you picket, stop imagining that you can pull an elected president. And that will be a coup, by the way. And coups are very dangerous. You know, like you want to overthrow a legally elected government.
Azimio heads to Nakuru on Thursday, Kiambu on Friday, in what insiders say is a build-up to Big Monday. Apul Kamau, TV47.
Chaos erupted earlier today in Kisumu when protesters stormed an event organized by the Communications Authority of Kenya demanding audience with ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo. However, the CS has since issued a statement condemning the incident.
This year's event to mark World Consumer Rights Day held at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Sports Complex in Kisumu was put to an abrupt stop after a group of people alleged to be Azimio la Umoja's supporters protesting against the high cost of living stormed the venue demanding to speak to ICT Cabinet Secretary Eliud Owalo, who was expected to be the chief guest at the event but failed to turn up, leaving the responsibility to Communications Authority boss Ezra Chiloba. The group arrived just as Chiloba was leaving, therefore he escaped unhurt. However, exhibitionists and guests who attended the event were forced to hurriedly seek for safety as the invaders also grabbed food meant for the guests as the caterers watched in panic.
I speak with a lot of bitterness. I speak because today, to afford basic needs in Kenya is not easy. Only basic needs. You cannot, as a government, we are saying Kenya is a failed state. If you can't provide health, you can't provide...
Through his Twitter handle, ICT CS Eliud Owalo has since issued a statement condemning the incident, terming it as regrettable. Part of the statement reads, "It is regrettable that a group of youth ostensibly doing a demo in Kisumu this morning disrupted an official function of the Communications Authority, presided over by the Communications Authority Director General, Mr. Ezra Chiloba." Earlier, hundreds of the Lakeside City residents took to the streets to participate in anti-government protests, which began in Kondele through the CBD before storming the Consumer Rights Day event. Before the incident, the demos led by Kisumu Deputy Governor Matthews Owili, Kisumu Central MP Joshua Oron, and Kisumu Assembly Speaker Elisha Oraro were largely peaceful, with protesters carrying anti-government placards, twigs and sufurias as they danced and sang songs near the Kisumu State Lodge. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV47.
Moving on, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Selection Panel has maintained it will continue with its constitutional duty of reconstituting the IEBC within 90 days, despite a pushback from the Azimio la Umoja coalition calling for the reconstitution of the panel. The selection panel has, however, maintained that it will deliver as per the demands of the Constitution. Moige William with that report.
Tonight, the recently sworn-in IEBC selection panel is reassuring the country that it is business as usual as they embark on the process to reconstitute the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. This is despite the high-octane political showdown between the President William Ruto and the Raila Odinga-led Azimio faction over the clamor surrounding the setting up of the electoral body. Wednesday, the panel indicated they had made significant strides in the recruitment process of attaining new IEBC commissioners under the given timeline of 90 days since their appointment.
This is a process that is provided for in the law, and as much as politicians will have varying opinions, eventually when elections come, politicians must submit themselves to an IEBC in Kenya. As time continues to tick, there will be a by-election, there will be a general election. The body that will carry this process will be an IEBC. And so we are taking this process as a solemn duty.
Through its chairperson, the panel reiterated it will discharge their mandate of finding 2 names of suitable persons to take up the chairperson role and 9 names suitable for the commissioner's role, pleading with relevant stakeholders to allow them discharge their duties.
And we want to make that commitment and vow to this country that we are taking this process as a solemn duty, and we will deliver good people from the ones that apply to Kenyans and come back to us and ask us at the end of this process. I want to be able to stand and say that we served our country well.
Obeyed the political noise around the partiality of the selection panel, with Azimio leader Raila Odinga political faction calling for the reconstitution of the team, which has been met with vigorous opposition from President William Ruto and team. The selection panel has already received 169 applications as of Wednesday.
We have 169 applications. So Kenyans are responding pretty well. For 7 positions, we already have 169 in 1 week, and we provided 3 weeks. So most likely we will have an overwhelming number, but we want to continue to ask Kenyans to apply.
President William Ruto, speaking in Tharaka Nithi, told off Raila Odinga and team over the issues, stating he followed the law in gazetting the 7-member team, accusing Raila Odinga of propagating impunity with their demands on the constitution of the IEBC selection panel. Moigi William, TV 47.
Now, the government has so far managed to take over operations at the standard gauge railway from the Chinese government by 90%, already projecting profits since its takeover. Speaking when he appeared before the National Assembly Investments Committee, the Kenya Railways Managing Director Philip Mainga revealed that the corporation has been working in earnest to fully recover operation of the SGR by the next financial year, though MPs expressed dissatisfaction with operations, which was surrounded by a lot of secrecy, especially from the contracts.
Fair enough.
Speaking when he appeared before the National Assembly Public Investments Committee on Commercial Affairs and Energy, Railways Managing Director Philip Mainga revealed that have taken over operations of the standard gauge railway line by at least 90%.
Chair, we, as you know very well, the whole of the system from Mombasa all the way to Malaba for MGR was vandalized. There was no operations. We did not have anything to do with Kisumu, Nanyuki. Chair, today, we are in Butere. We are taking fertilizer to Butele. We are taking fertilizer to Nyahururu. We are in Bungoma, we are everywhere. Chair, I want this committee to take note as we discuss these fingers and the trend from 2017 to the current position.
He further told the David Kosing-led committee that the move has helped the company to stabilize financially, thus making financial improvements from making an operational loss of 9.8 billion shillings in the year 2018-2019 financial year to 4.2 billion shillings in the financial year 2020-2021.
What did they do that they moved from, what was that reported earlier, to 4 billion?
Yes.
How much was that? 8 billion. 8.8. 9.8, and now you're reporting 4. So what did you do there, which you want to encourage that you continue doing until it is 0? What is it?
critical statement that you are still posting posting operating losses.
Yeah.
Or you are simply on an improvement trajectory. You know, there are two different things. As we speak, is the corporation registering operating losses?
Increasing year by year, and maybe that too is attested by the financial statements that are before us, and even the table that is in the response, showing that in the year 2017-18 we had an operating loss of 9.8, and for the current for the last financial year we are reporting an operating loss of 4 billion. So the operating loss is decreasing year by year.
However, MPs questioned why the corporation is taking over operation even after admitting that they are not in possession of SGR contract, expressing their dissatisfaction over the operations of SGR, which they said is shrouded in mystery.
Of the SGR contract. So unless we have got visibility of that contract, we shall be acting in vain. And therefore, and I agree with him, he may not be having the contract. But you could help us understand who could be having it, so that we can go for it. As a parliament, we cannot be denied access to such a critical contract that has made taxpayers' money to be committed in tune of billions of shillings share.
The Auditor General report had indicated that the losses had dropped from 9.8 billion shillings to 4.4 billion shillings in the financial year 2020. Is that 90% of their revenue is from cargo and 10% from passengers, with 2.5 million passengers traveling by the railway yearly.
At what percentage are you there?
We are around 67.
60.
Yeah.
So you need to put more effort to increase your passenger, more effort.
You know, over the world, railway systems and their books and their assets, long-term assets, but profitability may not be the case at all times. I'm not saying we are not supposed to make money, but I'm saying railway systems all over the world are meant to spur economic growth of our country and support the pillars.
It has been marred by controversy from the start, from procurement, its massive cost, and government's reluctance to allow detailed scrutiny of the contracts. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47, Nairobi.
To some health matters now. 6 people have been reported dead in Machakos County this week due to the cholera outbreak. Medical experts in the county fear that the spike could hugely affect the feeble health system in the region that has seen many residents in hospital beds battling the disease.
A total of 6 people have died in Machakos County over the past 1 week due to a cholera outbreak in the country as a whole, and Machakos in particular. This is according to Machakos Health Executive Dr. Daniel Yumbia, who confirmed that the outbreak has hit parts of Mlolongo and Athi River wards and the larger Movoko sub-county had. So far, a total of 51 cholera cases have been reported in the county, with medics fearing that the growing curve will have a negative impact on the county's health system. Movoko sub-county leading with 3 deaths, followed by Machakos town with 2 deaths, and Matungulu sub-county reporting 1 death.
Starts at 46, at 46 in Mavoko and 3 in Kanguno, total 51 persons. And the admissions, as we speak now, we have discharged all the patients. We are remaining with 6.
The rise is despite some areas such as Mavoko still under a ban in open-air hawking of foodstuffs.
Hawking of foodstuff and clean of vegetables that are being cut at site, still banned until we advise otherwise. We shall monitor the situation up to the weekend. And if we do not get any new case in Mavoko, we are likely to lift the ban by Saturday.
The health executive also confirmed that the county government has already put in measures to curb the cholera outbreak by distributing detergents and cleaning materials to the residents in the affected regions to help stop the spread of the disease.
And we have distributed soap, we have distributed jerry cans, we have distributed drugs, tablets that are used for cleaning water, And we have also distributed pamphlets, and we have used door-to-door campaign even to go and spray those areas that need to be cleaned.
Residents were, however, urged to help in containing the disease by checking on their neighbors and reporting such cases to relevant authorities for prompt action, and also to take the necessary steps to maintain high levels of hygiene.
I want to appreciate everybody in Machakos County for keeping safe health hygiene practices. Please ensure you wash your hands thoroughly with water, use soap, and ensure that you drink safe water.
Norbert Oduor, TV 47.
Now to matters legislation, Nyali legislator Mohammed Ali has presented a motion in Parliament that seeks to put a total ban on the discussion, publication and dissemination of LGBTQ matters in the country. The motion that sparked numerous reactions in Parliament garnered the support of many parliamentarians as they criticized the LGBTQ community for trying to, what they said, tamper with the social fabric of a prayerful nation. However, Deputy Majority Leader Owen Baya faulted the motion, saying it had the effect of limiting freedom of expression in the country.
Order, Honorable Batandi. Order.
In what turned out to be a heated debate in Parliament, Nyali legislator Mohammed Ali presented a motion that seeks to put a total ban on the discussion, publication and dissemination of LGBTQ matters in the country. Ali says the publication of the matter is propagating the practice further and should therefore be banned.
Kumekuwa na ongezeko la mahusiano ya jinsia moja nchini Kenya kutokana na usambazaji wa vitabu na machapisho yanayokuza upotovu huo, tukitambua kwamba uchapishaji na usambazaji wa nyenzo zinazohusu mahusiano ya jinsia moja katika machapisho na vyombo vya habari una athari kali kwa maadili ya jamii kuhusu mwelekeo wa kijinsia.
Many of the lawmakers supported the motion, saying the practice goes against the ideals and traditions of Kenya as a country.
Sisi tunasema masuala ya usagaji na masuala ya ushoga, kwa kilugha ya Kimombo tutasema isiwe ni mjadala wala mazungumzo kwa watu wa Kenya. Tunasema it is a no-go zone.
The parliamentarians also criticized the Supreme Court judges for issuing a ruling that allows the registration of LGBTQ associations in the country.
Mheshimiwa Spika, swala ambalo unajiuliza ni kwamba hawa majaji walizungumza wakiongozwa na nini haswa, kama wanahalalisha jambo ambalo limepigwa marufuku na katiba ya Kenya.
Deputy Majority Leader Owen Baya, however, faulted the motion, saying it had the effect of limiting freedom of expression in the country.
Mimi swali ambalo ningependa kuuliza Bi Speaker, pengine utupatie, Mheshimiwa Speaker, utupatie mwelekezo. Je, mswada huu ambao unajaribu kukanganyana na katiba ya kitaifa, katiba yetu, unaruhusiwaje kuingia katika bunge?
The second time MP's motion comes days after Homa Bay Town MP Peter Kaluma expressed his intention to table a bill in Parliament that will criminalize homosexuality and its promotion in the country. Section 162A and C of the Constitution makes it a crime for both same-sex and opposite-sex couples to participate in sexual activities. If a person is found guilty for a crime under Section 162A and C of the Penal Code, they can be sentenced to a maximum of 14 years in prison. Zainab Mohammed, T47.
Well, at 29 minutes past the hour, time now for a very short break. We'll be right back with more. Don't go away.
As you enter a new phase of life, you may seem lost until you discover the passion within.
I'm happy that MKU decided to open a branch in Malindi to make work easier for those parents who have never been away from their kids or children.
That's all the equipment that I need to study.
and all the facilities that I need.
You've seen we have one of the most beautiful and ultra-modern structure.
Join us at Mount Kenya University and Equip Africa Institute Malindi Odell Center to build your future. Intake in April for electronic learning and May for distance learning. Mount Kenya University.
Unlocking infinite possibilities.
Karibuni.
Mount Kenya.
Kaluma King Herbal Lozenges zinazo nguvu maradufu kutuliza kikohozi, vidonda vya koo na mafua. Kaluma King ni shwari.
Chika mama huyo muharifu kaiba kuku zangu, vifaranga wangu na mayai zote pia kabeba. Haya, chika mama huyo.
Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Welcome to Nyali Golf View Residence, where a luxurious accommodation is inspired by the Indian Ocean. This exclusive residential community offers the ultimate in coastal living along Links Road, Nyali, near Mamba Roundabout. With breathtaking views of the golf course, ocean, and landscaped gardens, every moment spent in your home is an experience of tranquility, comfort, and luxury. Every detail of your spacious, fully furnished apartment has been designed with your comfort and style in mind, with open-plan living spaces, high ceilings, and elegant finishes that exude sophistication and relaxation. Experience resort-style living with a wide range of amenities, including a state-of-the-art fitness center, swimming pool, children's playground, 24-hour security, and concierge services. Experience the ultimate in luxury living and golfing at Nyali Golf View. Contact us today to schedule a visit and discover the lifestyle of your dreams. Nyali Golf View Residence, luxurious accommodations inspired by the Indian Ocean.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. The government will be forced to borrow upwards of 700 billion shillings to finance the first Kenya Kwanza budget of 3.6 trillion shillings. Paul Kirobi now with a breakdown of the budget policy statement, which reveals that MPs have increased their CDF allocation.
Kenyans will have to dig deep into their pocket to finance the 2023-2024 Kenya Kwanza government. The government plans to spend at least 2.5 trillion shillings on recurrent expenses and 769.3 billion shillings on development. This will now force the government to borrow at least 700 billion shillings, out of which 198.6 billion shillings will be raised from external sources and 521.5 billion shillings from the domestic market. Kenya Revenue Authority KRA has been tasked to collect 3 trillion shillings in the financial year 2023-2024, up from 2 trillion shillings collected in the last financial year. The taxman has been directed to implement various tax policy measures to boost tax collection to be in tandem with the revenue target. Some of the biggest winners in President William Ruto's first budget include MPs who have increased the CDF allocation to 53 billion shillings. Women representatives will have 1 billion shillings kitty. Parliament has been allocated 44 billion shillings to run the operations, while the medical equipment scheme has been allocated with 4.5 billion shillings. While presenting the report, Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro stated that the budget has focused on vital pillars in the Kenya Kwanza administration bottom-up economic model.
Approximately 385 billion, crossing a trillion mark in terms of CFS, which majority of it, Mr. Speaker, goes into payment of interest rates.
Myself, where is it that the common mwananchi's problems are being addressed? Where is it that the cost of living is being brought down? Where is it that the cost of unga is being brought down? Mr. Speaker, maybe that's why we have a date with Destiny on 20th, next week on Monday.
Deputy Minority Leader Robert Mbui poked holes in the budget policy statement by pointing out that it's not friendly to the common mwananchi at a time when they are battling with the high cost of living. While seconding the motion, Kitui Central MP Makali Mulu supported the budget policy statement for the financial year 2023-2024, but he however argued in the implementation of programs by both units of government should be clear implementation framework.
As we now go to the annual estimates, it would be very important for the House to make sure, and most of the departmental committees, to make sure that we don't have any duplication of efforts.
Emuhaya MP Omboko Milemba lauded the efforts to increase the budget ceiling of the NGCDF, saying it will go a long way in terms of spurring growth in the constituency level, especially in the education sector.
We have to go back to our constituencies, God willing, and do a very good job so that we prove ourselves that this is a better channel of getting money to the ground, not really devolving, but getting money to the ground, especially money that comes from the national government for effective use and efficient use.
Paul Kirobi, TV47, Nairobi.
Back to some more politics. As the future of ANC and Ford Kenya parties in Kenya Kwanza Alliance continues to hang on the thread, UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala says Kenya Kwanza is strengthening ahead of 2027 polls. Malala says that parties that will decline to fold and join UDA will have to stand alone in parliamentary duties. Mike Kagongo with that.
UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala now says Kenya Kwanza Alliance constituent parties will not be forced to fold, insisting that they will be given a chance to stand alone.
Sisi tunaongea na wale ambao wanaifanya kwa hiari kwamba ukiona kwamba mawazo ya chama chako na mawazo ya UDA inaambatana, basi ya ushurutisho unakuja unajiunga na chama cha UDA.
However, in an interview with TV47, Malala said if the parties which include ANC, Ford Kenya and Maendeleo Chapchap are not dissolved, then they will have to stand alone in various parliamentary duties, among them electing Senate and National Assembly speakers.
Kubali basi tufanye internal competition, ile friendly fire, kwamba nyinyi mweke candidates kwa mbunge, alafu ikifika pia kule juu tukitaka pia kupiga kura, kwa sababu kura ni kura. Tukitaka kupiga kura ya uspika kwenye Senate, tunasema haya Ford Kenya. Tukitumia hiyo formula utapata kwamba kuna watu ambao wataumia.
Na kidogo hii huoni kama ni blackmail?
Sio blackmail, tunasema tu kwa njia nzuri kwamba ni muhimu tuanze kufikiria kama watu wa moja.
Malala, who contested on the Kakamega County gubernatorial seat on ANC ticket in 2022, said politics is like a saw which cuts both sides, insisting on the need to form a single strong party.
Wasiwe wale watu ambao wangependa msumeno ukate tu mbele peke yake. Kwa sababu kama wewe una insist, unasema basi mimi nataka tukienda kuweka kwa elections, tukitaka kuweka candidates wetu, Ford Kenya waweke candidate wao, ANC waweke candidate wao, UDA waweke candidate wao, huo ni msumeno umekata mbele. Tukirudi kukata nyuma, basi inamaanisha wakati tutataka kuchagua speaker of the National Assembly, basi pia waruhusu ANC waweke candidate wao kama speaker, Ford Kenya waweke, na UDA pia tuweke kama speaker. Msumeno ukata mbele.
A section of Ford Kenya and ANC legislators have poured cold water on Malala's efforts to have the parties fold and join UDA.
We are supporting His Excellency the President up to 2027. Thereafter, There'll be something else. Yeah, or somebody else, anybody else will come. Could it come from Fort Kenya, could it come from ANC, could it come from any other party to become the presidential candidate? And therefore, what is his problem? What is his hurry? Please, go slowly.
Unasema kwamba chama cha Ford Kenya na ANC kiko na umaarufu kule Western. Umaarufu gani? Wako na wabunge wangapi huko? Hesabu wabunge wa ODM utapata ni wengi kuliko wa ANC na Ford Kenya. Hesabu wabunge wa UDA Western utapata ni wengi kuliko ANC na Ford Kenya. Umaarufu mnatumia nini kupima umaarufu wa chama?
However, Malala denied claims of high-handedness in UDA party. This comes as former KANU Secretary General Nick Salat was unveiled as UDA member. Salat wants Azimio la Umoja One Kenya leader Raila Odinga to call off mass protest, stating that not all challenges can be solved through demonstrations.
We know the prices, the standards of living in this country are very high, but some people seem to be hiding that they have an idea. Bring it to the table and let's share as Kenyans if you love this country.
The future of these parties now lies in the hands of Kenya Kwanza coalition to see if they will merge up and form UDA party as a single party or they will serve independently. Mike Kagwongo, TV 47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike Kagwongo, for that. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says the government is implementing reforms at the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency, KEMSA, in order to make it more efficient, transparent and responsive to the growing medical demands. And as Gilbert Nalwa tells us, the reforms are expected to eliminate scandals and make the agency more reliable.
I want to say thank you very much.
The Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who hosted senior officials from the Kenya Medical Supplies Agency at his Harambee Annex office, revealed that the government is working on implementing reforms at the agency in realization of the universal health coverage agenda.
When there are weak systems, all manner of crooks take advantage.
According to Gachagua, weak systems in any parastatals would lead to inefficiency, and therefore it was important for the agency to embrace the reforms by the government to enhance transparency and accountability.
We really need to fix the systems so that we can achieve transparency and accountability and efficiency at the same time. And where there is efficiency, the room for abuse is limited. Systems that work are good.
With the advancements of technology, Gachagua has called upon KEMSA officials to embrace technology by incorporating modern operations so as to cope up with the current world, as well as improvement of service delivery.
I agree totally we need to modernize the operations of KEMSA. This is a new world. We can't do things the way we were doing them 30 years ago. We have to keep up with the times. We have to embrace technology. We must leverage on technology so that we are in tandem with the modern world.
Gachagua further says the government has plans in place to cater for community health workers across the country and that they will work in partnership with county governments to provide remuneration to community health workers.
I'm making a special appeal to our development partners to consider to partner with the government to provide more equipment to the community health volunteers as a long-term measure of bringing down the cost of making medical interventions. The government has partnered with the county governments, 50-50, to provide a stipend to encourage the community health volunteers.
Gilbert Nalwa, TV 47.
Residents from Owino Uhuru slums in Jomvu, Mombasa County have today staged peaceful demonstrations outside the Mombasa Court of Appeal while threatening not to vacate its premises until Friday, when the court ruling on the case seeking compensation will be issued over the loss of lives, among other challenges brought about by lead poisoning from a smelting plant which is now defunct.
In 2020, the Kenya Environment and Land Court had earlier ruled in favor of this community and ordered a compensation of 1.3 billion Kenyan shillings, which is yet to be paid to the 3,000 victims who are said to have gotten exposed to high levels of lead while either working in the defunct company or when they resided near the plant. Its consequences have left many with intellectual disabilities and others losing their lives to the lead poisonous smoke.
Hawa
watu wameathirika, watoto wa mama wamezika watoto wao, wanaume wamezika bibi zao. Kuna wanawake ambao wombs zao zimetolewa, hawawezi kuzaa. Wanangoja haki kutoka kwa wale ambao walishiriki katika kuwaathiri afya yao na mazingira yao. Court Land and Environment ilitupa haki na tunataka hiyo haki.
The amount yet to be paid had therefore stimulated the victims to file a case seeking to make an inquiry on the compensation.
Nimepoteza watoto 4 nikizika. Bibi mwenyewe nimezika. Nina uchungu sana kisa kesi inaahirishwa. Kwangu mimi nasikia uchungu sana. Nataka haki ifuatwe, kila mtu apate haki yake.
The move has unfortunately led to more agitation as the court ruling have previously been postponed, many times sneaking suspicion among the activists.
Koti imesema watu walipe, lakini kuna watu ambao ni corrupt katika hii serikali, wanataka wapatiwe kitu kidogo ndio wapeane go ahead. Kwa hivyo hakuna kupeana hata ndururu. Pesa itoke vile vile mabilioni ilivyosemekana ili watu wao wapate haki yao.
The plan to spend 2 nights, 1 day at the Mombasa Court of Appeal premises until the case ruling on Friday has however been met with a backlash from the court itself, saying that it's wrong for any of the parties to exert pressure on the court to deliver the judgment.
Mambo bado.
Paul Munio, TV 47.
Well, moving on, Kenyans have expressed their disappointment following the increase in the price of petrol. The latest review by the Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority indicates an increase in the price of petrol by 2 shillings. Boda and taxi drivers who are most affected by the changes now say that their businesses are on the verge of collapsing as clients now shun their services.
A day after the Energy, Petroleum and Regulatory Authority EPRA announced the 2 shilling increase in the price of petrol, Kenyans are already bearing the brunt, even as the prices of basic commodities are likely to go high.
Tumelala tukiamuka asubuhi tunasikia mafuta inapanda na shilingi 2. Na wakati tulikuwa napiga kura tulikuwa naambia bottom up. Kwa hivyo hii ndio bottom up ambao tumeona. Badala mafuta iteremuke inaendelea kupanda. Kila kitu inaendelea kupanda.
The pain at the pump has seen taxi and border riders increase transport cost, which has consequently seen customers shun their services.
Wakiongeza mafuta bila kuregulate ama kustabilize, inani affect mimi juu itabidi niongezee customer bei ndiposa nipate kazi.
Na tukisema tunapandisha bei hakuna mwenye tutabeba. Na tuko na familia tunalisha. So sijui tutafanya nini.
In the period under review, super petrol prices increased by 2 shillings per litre, while diesel and kerosene remained unchanged.
Tukiambiwa mafuta inashuka na sumni. Ikiongezwa inaongezwa na 20 bob, inaongezwa mara na 5 bob, na sisi watu online tumelia paka tumepeleka kwa governor. Watuongezee hata kama ni kitu kidogo, wamekataa.
Sisi ndindi nyono tunakuambia, tunataka kuona.
Well, I do apologize for that. Now, time for the latest from the world of business. Let's do business. The Kenya National Entrepreneurs Saving Trust, KNEST, will now manage the Hustler Fund saving component. According to Cooperative CA Simon Chelugui, 19 million Kenyans have registered and the government has saved at least 1 million shillings from the 5% deducted from the funds for saving purposes. Have a look.
I would really like to welcome the launch of this board, and the law is supposed to pray, and the space that they're supposed to occupy to grow and afford our people to have comfort in their retirement. I think I want to be associated.
Of every borrowing and take it to savings. 70% of that saving goes to long term. 30% of that saving goes to short term, means you can access within 1 year. Government has promised that hustlers who will save up to a maximum of 6,000 on long term section will receive a matching fund of 3,000.
So it is when KNEST now was in the process of rolling out that the Hustler Fund came on board. And now with the Hustler Fund coming on board, and Kenyans and the Hustler Fund being both government initiatives, this is what now you heard our CS for cooperatives now telling you that we are working together to streamline our processes and now see how Kenyans will anchor the savings component of the Hustler Fund, and especially now that we have a trustee board in place, because under the Retirement Benefits Act, the fiduciary responsibility of managing pension contributions falls squarely on the trustees. Okay.
Now, Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o has called on the government to act with speed to ensure the privatization of sugar companies. This comes at a time when the sector has experienced a drastic decline, as the current production of 55 tons per hectare is below the global average of sugar production of 63 tons, with the local millers recording an annual deficit of 100,000 tons. The reduced production has been associated with the high cost of inputs, delayed harvests, and demotivation of the farmers. Speaking at the 11th summit of the Lake Region Economic Bloc, it was noted that annual domestic demand for sugar stands at 900,000 tons in Kenya.
Government should get out of producing sugar, of owning factories and so on, and these factories should be leased to private farms. The leasing of companies like General Sugar Factory, Moroni, whatnot, was an urgent thing. And we said that an entity should be set up to manage that leasing as quickly as possible.
The issue of importation of sugar, because we have to import until we are self-reliant, be done by a publicly owned company, maybe a state corporation. All those profits be plowed back into the sector.
Sugar packed at Nakumat sugar. You go to Naivas, you get sugar packed Naivas sugar. Where does Nakumat, Naivas, have own a factory? You ask yourself. This is an issue that we must deal with.
So why so many importers? I mean, you're looking at 400,000 tons, well, we have 56. You are not 2 or 3. And the answer is in the unrealistic profit margins that the importers are making from selling imported sugar. Local producers, the local millers cannot make a profit due to their high production levels.
From the world of business, now let's get the latest from the world of sports. Welcome. FC Talanta edged Bidco United 1-0 in the FKF Premier League Round 20 fixture played at the Kasarani Annex Stadium. FC Talanta's only goal in the 34th minute gave them their 5th win of the season. FC Talanta are now 14th in the FKF Premier League standings on 21 points, while Bidco are 12th on 23 points.
We are fighting not to be part of the teams that we are going to remove from the league. So we are fighting to remain in the league. So it's a marathon that we need to fight game by game until we are safe from. Comfortably is to win 3 points. That is the most important. That is comfortably. But when you get more goals, that's a plus to the team, right? So for now, what we have gotten, we have to appreciate for that. Thank you.
Also, we really need to have a strong mentality in our next match to win, because comparing to how we've played and how Talanta played, they didn't play football. They played something else, but they've managed to win.
Harambee Stars coach Engin Firat has named the provisional squad for the March 28, 2023 friendly against Iran. It will be the first time Kenya will be playing an international match after over a year in the cold due to a FIFA ban. The 30-man squad features a strong contingent of local-based players and experienced foreign-based players. Nzoia Sugar's remarkable league form has resulted in maiden call-ups for midfielder Hassan Beja and playmaker Joseph Mwangi. FC Leopards midfielder Victor Omone also received his first international call-up after a productive season for Ingwe. The squad also includes international players with Kenyan roots who play in Europe. Danish-born defender Daniel Anyembe, who has captained the Denmark under-23 national side, and striker Alfred Skriven, who plays for Ilhod in Norway, have also received their first invites to the Harambee Stars fold. Grassroots football coaches are expected to benefit from the KFC Coaching Course, which went underway earlier today in Kariobangi North Primary School. The opening ceremony was presided by FKF NEC Nairobi Region Michael Majua. Also in attendance were FKF Nairobi East Chairman Amos Wakili and FKF Nairobi East Secretary General Dixon Doyo. Speaking during the course, Kayole Starlet player Lucy Njeri said her aim is to acquire knowledge and skills that she can use to create a new pool of talented footballers and fill the gap for the lack of women coaches, especially in the FKF Women Premier League.
Kwa boli yetu ya Kenya, madem ni wachache, so niliget hiyo passion ya kutaka kukuwa coach. Juu kiangalia Premier League, makochi wengi ni men. So tukikochiwa, tunaweza pata hiyo chance ya kucoach madem wetu.
Today I've come to learn to become a coach because nimekucheza Premier League, Makolandas, and I'm out of playing Premier League due to niko na injury. I had a knee surgery and imekuwa on and off, nika decide so I need to coach, and pia nataka kusaidia like ma players wetu madem. Most of our teams tunakochiwa na machali. So pia ni challenge. Tunataka pia si madem tukue challenge to coach madem wetu, na pia sisi tunaweza coach pia machali.
The National Olympic Committee of Kenya and partners of the Kenya Beach Games and Buntwani Waterfront Park are in high gear preparations to get ready for the first Kenya Beach Games edition that are set to take place in Kilifi County. The competition is set to take place on the 18th and 19th of March this year. Over 500 athletes have registered to participate in different sporting activities, with beach football having the highest number of entrants. There will be a test event at the venue on Thursday, organized by Kilifi County